And today, just to celebrate with us, we have in the audience our Dean, Professor George Osanjo, Dean, Faculty of Health Sciences. And at this point, I would like to welcome him to give a few remarks. Professor Osanjo.
Thank you. I'm trying to unmute. Okay. Can you hear me, Diana?
Yes, we can see you as well.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Our guest speaker today, Rozy, Rana, MD. You know, for us in healthcare, MD means Doctor of Medicine or medical doctor. Welcome. Dr. Diana, and ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Happy Friday, everyone. And indeed, it's my honor to be with you this morning, a day that marks the anniversary of since you started this series of Wellness Forum talks. And I'm really happy to be here to see people this early in the morning, sometimes a challenging time, because for us, sometimes marks the end of a shift, a night shift, or the beginning of the day shift. But it's good that you've really secured this slot. And I think, as has been indicated by Diana, throughout the year, you've learned a great many things, how we integrate wellness in our life. You know, it's something beyond just work and study. It's something that to be integrated in our daily activities. And I'm glad when Dr. Diana has indicated the diversity of topics that have been covered, including Chris Hart talking about dating and relationships, topics that otherwise you will not be able to find in the medical curriculum, as long as I'm dean, perhaps. But you guys have found ways around that. Yeah, that's really, truly innovative. And this series of talks and forum and events came really at the right time for us as a university. As you're aware, this year, the university has been focusing on what is called the Vice Chancellor's People's Agenda, which policy focus tries to support the learning and working environment within the University of Nairobi, so that we all have a supportive academic and working environment. And there have been a number of activities that have been organized by staff and students. Just yesterday, we had the University Compassion Day, a day that we support students who struggle financially. And today, actually, we are from 8 a.m., we are having the University Prize Giving Day, where we support and give prizes to those who have achieved in academics, in co-curricular, extracurricular activities. You can already see some of these trophies behind me that will be given to some of you who have excelled in various areas. And last Saturday, we had the students holding what is called the Leave No Medic Behind, and it was a charity run organized by the students, and a chance to run, 5 kilometers, something that I have not done for very many years. And it went well. It went well, struggled a bit, but it went well. And really looking forward, I'm hoping that you will be able to integrate some of those activities in the subsequent years' events. Maybe you work together with the students' clubs, such as the AMSUN Running Club, so that we also see you during those events. Participate in also, as you getting well, doing this kind of activities, you are also maybe participating in such activities such as the University Compassion, Leave No Medic Behind, you having your t-shirts of the Wellness Forum, and other things. So I'm pretty certain that in the coming year, you're going to have a great series of events just like you've had. So today I'm just to get on ahead with it. I'm pretty sure today is going to be a great forum as well. And I give it back to you, Diana. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Osanjo, our Dean. Thank you very much for those great remarks. I would also like to acknowledge our chair. I know I'm going against protocol, but she's been able to join us online. She's on Zoom. Professor Cheserem, welcome. Give us a few remarks before we start the session of the day.
Thank you. I'm very much delighted for the news for our speaker today, Rozy Rana. I've read her profile. She's very, very widely experienced in matters which are of interest to us as a department and as a university, because we have young upcoming professionals. Unfortunately for our curriculum, we don't touch many things which are very keen skills in terms of taking on life. So this forum was created to help our students and even our staff to venture and try to cope with what we are not used to in medicine. It's a very rigorous training, and you find yourself concentrating on issues of patients, treatment, and the consequences that follow. And when it comes to other challenges in life, you find we are missing. We cannot integrate very well. So thank you very much. I welcome you, Rozy Rana. I'm sure our students will come up with so much from you. I tried to join earlier, but there was a lot of issue when joining. I couldn't come in, so I asked Diana to break the protocol and welcome the Dean so that we don't waste time. Thank you very much. Karibu.
Thank you very much, Professor Cheserem. I remember when I finished my MEd studies, I attached myself to Kenyatta. Normally, there are those 2 years where you have to attach yourself somewhere before you can get your registration or your recognition as a specialist. So I attached myself to the Kenyatta National Hospital. And one of the things you're expected to do is actually to teach the undergraduate students. So when I presented myself for my first class, a class that was meant to be 1 hour, I finished it in 10 minutes. That's how panicky I was. I was just rushing through that topic. You could see students who are very enthusiastic, people who are listening and wanted to write notes, but everybody just stopped and looked at me. And for me, I'm sure because of how I was feeling, I was very sweaty. I just wanted to get out of that place very fast. So I disappeared and I knew I wasn't going to teach. I knew I was definitely not going to come back and teach. But luckily, at some point, I was exposed to Toastmasters and I was able to learn a few things. And when an opportunity came, I was able to apply. And now, as you can see, I'm a lecturer at the University of Nairobi. So for everybody, there is a place where you're starting from. We have excellent speakers. There are people whom we know you have to work a little bit at it to be able to become some sort of kind of speaker, even to begin with. And for me, truly, I had to build that muscle. And I would like to say it's actually thanks to Toastmasters, because from 2016 to date, I can say I've been with the university for at least 8 years. And that is not, to me, it's not a small achievement. So, and I would really like to acknowledge the assistance of Toastmasters in helping me become the person I am today. And today we have a speaker with us, and I would like to welcome Dr. Ida Wanjiko to welcome our speaker of the day.
Thank you, Dr. Ndieki. Our speaker today is Madam Rana Rozy, popularly known as Rozy, and is a managing director of Dormans Coffee Limited, which is Kenya's most trusted coffee brand. She is responsible for overseeing the business operations, rolling out innovations, mitigating risk, driving growth of the brand, and delivering positive and sustainable results for the company. She has had successful careers spanning 30 years, and prior to her current role, she held senior management positions in administration, finance, and human resource management. Rozy is enthusiastic about helping individuals realize their potential. She is a certified Dale Carnegie trainer, as well as a registered trainer for the rhetoric module of the Female Future Program, which was introduced by the Federation of Kenya Employers in partnership with the Norwegian Enterprise Confederation to help women in middle management positions grow their competencies to board level positions. She has played a pivotal role in customizing the content to the Kenyan context. For many years, she has served as a volunteer leader in different capacities with the Aga Khan Ismaili community, Toastmasters International as well. She was the founding chair of Toastmasters District 114, spanning 6 East African countries. And during her 2-year leadership tenure, the team tripled the number of clubs, institutionalized best practices, built capacity, transitioned from territorial council to district status, and ranked top among districts globally. Rozy is a recipient of several awards, including a Presidential Citation Award from Toastmasters International. She holds a Bachelor of Education degree from the Kenyatta University, an MBA from Strathmore Business School, and a doctorate in business administration from USIU Limited as well. She's happily married and has one son. With no further ado, we'd like to welcome you, Madam Rozy Rana, to take it away. Thank you.
Good morning, all, and thank you very, very much, Dr. Wanjiko, for the introduction. I should be observing protocol, so Professor Chesaram first, and also my dear friend, Dr. Diana Ondieki. Thank you so much for having me. Congratulations, what a milestone. First anniversary, and the lineup of speakers and topics you've had are truly, truly impressive. I wish I could be part of these forums. That sounds really, really amazing. So today I've been asked to speak about the art of public speaking. So I would love this to be interactive, and therefore I hope on and off I will see individuals come on the screen. I'm not sure how easy, how difficult it is, but I welcome you all to do so. So the topics that I want to look at when I talk about the art of public speaking, and I'm speaking specifically to your department, are the following. And depending on time, what I want to discuss, and in fact, Diana has alluded to it, is the power of public speaking, what it can do for you, but we'll be a bit quick on that. She talked about the nervousness, the panic that she experienced. So what can we do to have some confidence, a few keys to confidence? And then most importantly, we'll look at how we can put together a speech. I hope we can do it with you as well and present for success. So it's a lot to do. I believe I have 1 hour. I can get carried away. So I would love to get somebody tell me when I have maybe 10, 15 minutes to go. Is that okay? Dr. Wanjiko, is that possible?
Yes, that's possible.
Okay, brilliant. So just to feel that I'm connecting with people, perhaps in the chat, let's see we will cover most of this, but from the participants, which of these seems most important to them? Just understanding the power, gaining confidence, putting together a speech, or the actual presentation. In the chat, let's see which of them is the most important to you as a participant. This way I'll feel more connected because there are no videos on. Excellent. I see Anne Jeroge saying presenting with success, putting together a speech. Brilliant. 1 minute, I lost my chat. ABC of a speech, keys to confidence. All of them, says Sarah. Gaining confidence, putting together a speech. Oh, ABC of a speech, ABC of a speech. Okay, super. So that allows me to know what I can go slightly quicker on and what I should really spend time on. Okay, brilliant. So we'll begin right away, and I'll then, because not too many have talked about the power of public speaking, it means that most of you know what its power. So let's look at it. On the screen, we see a few historical leaders. Some names on who they might be. On the chat again. Any that you recognize on the screen? They are definitely well before. I'm happy. I mean, I'm older than most of you, but I'm happy to say many of you are before me. Oh yeah, Obama, Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, MLK, super. Yeah, they're well-known historical famous leaders. So history is famous with leaders like these. But one thing I want to talk about these three particularly. Did you know that Mahatma Gandhi, Mother Teresa, or Martin Luther King they're known as leaders, yet do you know they were not presidents of any country? They were not even CEOs of any company. So what was it that set them apart? Any thoughts? What set them apart? We'll keep using the chat with me if we can. What do you think set them apart? The power of their speech? Okay, yes, thank you, Khadija. They had quotable quotes, Dr. Wanjiko, thank you. Charisma, inspirational people, their passion, wonderful responses, their authentic stories and life's purpose. Wow. Conviction in their cause, influence through speech. Yes, and you're all very right. These are individuals who rallied masses of people for their cause, for a cause which was not just theirs, but that inspired everyone to come together and for the greater good. And so this shows that they did this through speech. And yet you may be saying, okay, but what's that to do with me? I'm here. I'm not going to be rallying masses of people. So it's also about the power of speech everywhere, in business, in your careers, and beyond. So if you look at the people here, again, a few names. Some are one of them, in fact, yeah, one of them is passed away now, but some names. James Mwangi, yes. And if you also know what they do, great. Manu Chandaria, Bob Colemo, absolutely. Obama, yes. James Mwangi again. So they are known, but most importantly, these ones use them to serve themselves as thought leaders in their professions, whether it's as a president or as CEOs of companies. They were able to talk about their businesses, they were able to inspire. And we all can promote ourselves and propel our careers because the hallmark of all leaders is the ability to communicate. Communication is more than just saying things. Communication really happens because sometimes communication is an illusion. Communication happens when what you want to say has been understood by the person receiving it as you want them to receive it. So these thought leaders were able to gain popularity, but beyond popularity, get their messages across, get their businesses across, get the votes for somebody like Obama by inspiring people. So that shows you the power today. And what can we in OBS and Gyn, what can we as residents use this? How can public speaking propel us? Any thoughts? If we were able to talk about our profession, any thoughts on how it could propel us? In the chat? Okay, so there's a bit of silence. So imagine people knew what you're doing. I'm told you're all doctors. You have your own professions over time. You have your own businesses. By going to forums like this one, I'm here today. I'm talking to you about speaking. Diana talked about Toastmasters. That could encourage and motivate people to come to Toastmasters. I may be able to tell you about my business. So if you talk about OBS and Gyno, you want people to come to you, you want people to understand the importance, you take away any stigma, and that will be the power of public speaking, having people embrace your services. So I think the biggest issue, if it's so powerful, what is the biggest issue? The biggest issue is the nerves that people get in, or you think you're going to say all kinds of things. You plan, you have everything in your mind, but you go in front of the screen and whoa, you get a brain freeze. You forget what you were going to say. You just you lose your words. What did Diana say? She went there to speak for an hour and she spoke for 10 minutes. Why do we get the brain freeze? And one of the greatest ways to gain confidence is really understanding, what happens when we go in front there? Why do we get this brain freeze? Because, and especially being in the medical field, once we understand the brain's natural responses, we will be better aware on what we can do to control these nerves. So first and foremost, as human beings, we care. And it's a good thing to care. It's not a bad thing to care. But we are concerned. The first thing that comes to our mind is, what will people think of me? How will they judge me? I'll be on the spotlight. Will I be interesting? Oh my God, what if they don't like me? Will I speak in a monotone? So many thoughts are going on your mind. And rather than focus on your message, you're having all kinds of thoughts. So how do you move from this person you can see on the lectern looking really nervous to the lady out there looking proud and confident? So first and foremost is just understanding and knowing that it is normal. I'm not alone. We heard Diana. You see me here very confident, but I too have a bit of nervousness. And it is not a bad thing. It is because we care about the audience. But one thing you should know is, rather than judging you, the audience is not judging you to be flawless. So yes, I could stumble. I could make some, I wouldn't be flawless. The audience is not judging you for, as if you are reciting a poem. The audience cares for the value you are there to give. Now imagine I came here and all I cared about was speaking flawlessly. Really, the audience wants you to be interesting. The audience wants something of value. It doesn't matter. So know that the audience is actually on your side. You want to deliver something interesting. The audience wants you to deliver something interesting. So you're on one side. It is not you against them. Perfection is not the goal. The goal is to convey a message of value. The reason you've been invited is because somebody believed you have something that can benefit the audience. So stop focusing on yourself. Don't be so self-centered. Focus on them. Today, it is my greatest desire that when you leave this place, you will have gained some valuable information. And that's all I care about. It doesn't matter if I forget my precise words. It doesn't even matter if my screen goes blank, as long as I can communicate and you can walk away from here with something of value. When you stop focusing on yourself and you start focusing on what you have of value and connecting with the audience, giving them something to take home, automatically that personal fear, those nerves go away and you start focusing on what you are here to say. So that's that's the biggest thing that I will leave you with. Okay? So now we're talking about the art of public speaking. But I want to ask you, do you think it's an art? Do you think it's a science? Thoughts? We are all in the science field, right? Because a medical profession is classified as a science. So what do you think? Is public speaking an art or a science? Let's see thoughts. Let's see our thoughts on the chat. And I'll keep asking you to connect with me through the chat. Any thoughts? Art. Mm-hmm. Art, both. Okay, super. So majority of us think it's an art. Now, what's the real difference? And art is something perhaps a bit more objective, something that's a bit more creative, something that falls in place, while a science is something that has a format that comes with a bit more objective structure. Okay, and I would agree that it is a bit of both. There are some things that come, but I would venture to say, I don't think there's any study that says it, but I would say it's mostly a science. And today we will see why. It's partially an art, but it's both. And there are very many elements within science or within structure that we can bring here and apply. And this is why I'm confident when I speak today, when I share the information, when you go away, you will have the basic knowledge on how you can make a delivery, all the data, and then it's just a function of practicing the art. Okay, so let's look at that. Before any presentation, we refer to what is called an aid tool. An aid, and it's just the acronym AID. You want to know who you're speaking to. For instance, today, I'm speaking largely, my audience is residents within OBS and Gyn. So I can already understand these are well-educated doctors. So I know when I speak to them, I don't necessarily speak to them as 5, 6 children, for instance. If I was to define what a doctor, a gyno, to a 5-year-old, I would say it very differently to if I'm speaking to an adult population. So understanding your audience will help you know the language you will use and how you will speak to them. The child, I might have to give very different examples. In this forum, I may not have to say the whole word gynecology residents. I just say OBS, and everybody knows what OBS is, for instance. So some elements are allowed and some are not. On the other hand, if I just say the aid tool, but I didn't break it down to say aid means audience intention delivery, then I will not communicate because you will not know what aid is. So it is understanding your audience. And then it is, why am I here? What am I here to do? Now, there are 4 general purposes for any presentation. One is to inform. The second is to persuade. And persuasion is normally in sales speeches. It could be, I could be persuading you to donate blood, for instance. I could be persuading you to buy my coffee, for instance. So what is my intention? Is it just to inform you? Today, I would be here. I want more than inform and persuade. The third purpose is inspire you so that you and motivate you to go out there and speak, to lose that fear. So that is the third intention you can have. And the fourth is those people who just entertain, like the comedians. All they want to do is get a laugh, have fun, and enjoy themselves. And then finally, in the preparation, you kind of look at the delivery logistics. For instance, today I'm delivering online. If I was since I'm delivering online, earlier I would want to know if I can share a presentation, if I can see people, what tools I can use. For instance, today I can use the chat. If it was in person, where I would be, would I have a microphone? Just understanding that enables you organize yourself. But this is just the preparation. Now we get to the real meat of what we are. And this is where, once you know all of that, just get there and start working on your speech. Okay? Because when going to deliver, we'll again come to some tools how you can be successful. Okay? So when I talk about preparing a speech, I look at it as the alphabet, A, B, C. There are 3 key elements to a speech. And if you are a vegetarian in the room, that is a vegetarian patty. If you are a meat eater, think of it as the meat, right? The first and 15% roughly of your speech is your opening, and we call it an attention-grabbing opening, and we'll get to all 3 of this. The bulk of your speech is the body, which is the real message, and we'll get into what you put into a body. And finally is the close. The close of your message is 10%. And the reason for this is straightforward. When you're eating a burger like the one you see there, or a sandwich, you really don't want excessive bread, but you want the filling to be adequate. You want enough meat, or you want enough of the vegetable. And you also want to flour it with some lettuce, tomato, cheese, whatever, mayonnaise. And those are the floury elements which just bring spice in the delivery. So we'll look at each one of this. Now to the attention-grabbing opening. Now, most people, and sometimes you have to respect the protocol in a place. Most people will begin their speech by, good morning, how are you? It's a pleasure to be here, etc. But that is the normal, ordinary way. And by all means, if it is the protocol in a place, you must observe it. For instance, in government, you have to begin by observing the protocol and thanking everybody. I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the individuals here who invited me, who honored me with this invitation, if I did not acknowledge our Professor Chesaram, who's in the room. Unfortunately, the dean, I believe, had to leave, but it would have been remiss of me. But then you get to it. Now, some ways, and when I say get to it, you bring in something that really excites them, makes them want to hear what you have to say. For instance, a statistic. An example is, well, did you know that research has shown that 70% of individuals are more afraid of public speaking than they are of death? Does that make you want to hear more? Now imagine there's a coffin there and you're told, go in there or speak, and you choose that coffin. That's how frightening people find public speaking. But today, I'm here to distill those fears. What do you think? How does that sound vis-a-vis, good morning, I'm here to talk about public speaking? Let's see which of the two you prefer, my first version or my second, in the chat. First, Khadija, thank you. Eve first. First, Marceline, first. Thank you. Everyone's coming in and saying first. So remember, if you can, think of something that's a bit more interesting to say instead of saying, I'm here to talk about the art of public speaking. People want something that really, and then tease them with a promise. By the end of this session, I will have given you some tools. And I think that's what I started. I shared my objectives, but I said to you, within my opening, and even before getting to the real meat, I was telling you, I was building towards the fact that it is a science. You will walk away with some tools. And I'm telling you, this ABC is a framework you will walk away with so that you know specifically how to prepare your speech. So it's a promise you're giving them. Some people start with a story, an anecdote. Those are also very good ways. Dive right away. For instance, I could say, growing up in the village, I never imagined that I would be here one day. I was 5 years old when I first had to face an audience. At that moment, now I'm not going to finish this whole story, but I'm just teasing you to show you when I say that, doesn't it make you want to hear a little more? So create interest, engage them. Sometimes you can ask a question, and it's a rhetorical question. Like today, I'm asking some questions and asking you to respond in the chat. A rhetorical question is a question where you're not really necessarily expecting an answer, but you're saying, have you ever wondered how some people just come and wow an audience? Have you ever watched a speaker like Obama with all that charisma just get your interest and wished, oh, I wish I could be like that? That's a question. I'm not really expecting an answer, but I'm provoking thought. Another way is an imagine element where you're transporting them into a different world. Imagine that you're speaking to an audience. They're all looking at you. They all want to hear more. They are so interested. Imagine they wish they could be like you. Now, all of these create an interest. So already they want to hear more. When you have them at the beginning, you will have them all the way. You will have them walking with you. So these are good ways, and this is your A. That A should not be more than 15% of your speech, because after that opening, you just set the context. You can give a bit of the background. You can give a bit about what the objectives are, and then you get to the real information. Now, we talked about the fact that 75% is the actual meat or the vegetable, the food itself. So what is in this? Here you're building the case. Okay? Normally, and this rhetoricians say that there are arguably human beings, and there's no real reason, but there's a science that shows that we remember our attention span is so limited. But if you give people 3 points, they are more likely to remember. Okay? Don't overload them. 3 points. So if there are ways that you can find, like if you're talking today about your department, or you're talking about a topic in gynecology, you might have so much to say, but if you know I'm here to remember, there are 4 purposes: inform. What is my specific purpose? And find 3 elements you can talk about. You'll be more powerful than trying to, and that will take away from rambling. Identify those 3 points. For every of those 3 points, you bring some supporting evidence, just enough. Now, this depends on the time allocated. For today, I have roughly an hour. If you have 7 minutes, if you have 20 minutes, like a normal TED talk, you have to plan your talk so that if you say, let's take a TED talk. If you have 20 minutes, the first, you know right away, the first 3 minutes roughly will be your introduction. So you know that you have about 15, 16 points for the meat. So you say, okay, for all of my points, if I have 15 minutes, 5 minutes a point. So that point will be a point and a bit of evidence in it. How will I logically move from point A to point B? What transitions can I have? And then finally, even after I've told them all these 3 things, you know you want to really deal with any resistance there might be, if at all. Some topics, for example, medicine, chances are there'll be very little resistance. But you might have somebody who believes in alternative medicine. So you should always be mindful of resistance even as you build your points. So those are the elements you think of in the meat. And don't worry, we will have an example, so we will get to it very shortly. I just want to finish the ABC. So the final is the conclusion. The conclusion, sorry, this is just repeating my rule of 3 and what rhetoricians say. I'll come back to that. The final is the close. A close largely, and especially if it's a persuasive speech, don't give them all those 3 points without a call to action. End it by telling them. So in closing, ladies and gentlemen, you have seen the benefit of donating blood. I invite you to University of Nairobi Medical Department, where we will have a sanitized syringes for you all to donate blood in room 13 at 10 o'clock. Be very clear. Summarize your points if you can. You can end with a quote or an inspiration, or you could end with a story. These are just possibles. So now let us have an example. Now we've talked about ABC. I'm going to give you a very quick example. And what example can I give? Yeah, you've all heard my introduction. I'm in coffee, so it's easy for me to think very quickly on my feet. And I promise you, this is not something I've prepared. I'm going to think of an example on coffee where I will use all of these three things, okay? So I need an attention-grabbing opening. I need 75% to be just 3 points, okay? So I'll be very quick. So I have 2 minutes to speak about why you should drink Dormans coffee, in fact, okay? And I will close by inviting you to drink coffee. So it's just A, B, C. So let me try it. What is your favorite morning drink? Some of us drink tea, some of us drink water, fresh juice. My morning drink is Dormans coffee, and I shall tell you why. First of all, Dormans has such a wide range of coffee. They give me choice, and each one of them is so delicious. I love to drink their Suprema blend, which has a citrusy, sharp taste. So the taste is one of the reasons I love Dormans. The second reason I love Dormans is because one day I visited their factory and I saw their processes. They are the only roasting entity in Kenya, in fact, I understand in the whole of East Africa, who subscribe to food safety standards. Safety is so important for me, and especially after COVID. They make sure that their systems are audited with what they call ISO 22000, FSSC 22,000 certification standards. So it convinces me that that coffee is safe. They've removed any stones, any elements, any things that might have come from the farm level. So A, I can trust it. And third, the reason I go for Dormans coffee and no other coffee is because I know when I drink Dormans coffee, it is a Kenyan brand. I am supporting the Kenyan farmer. They have what they call fair trade certification. A premium goes to the farmer. They show me the transparency. So, ladies and gentlemen, I invite you, when you're drinking coffee, know that the trickle-down benefit is going to the whole cycle. It is sustainable. I invite you, drink Kenya. Do not drink these imported brands. Drink Kenya, drink Dormans. That's my call to action. In 2 minutes, I don't know what it was. I didn't time myself. I crafted using A, B, C. I was so focused on the A, B, C that I stopped thinking about myself or the anxiety. I started thinking literally just about a message with 3 points. So how was that? How did that feel? I would like us now, so just any comments on the chat, because I had not thought about this. I created it right this minute. Yeah? Literally, I created it in the room using the ABC formula. Now, normally you have more time, but even if you have a short time, if you think of ABC, a speech will fall in place. Okay? Thank you, Jessie. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Khadija. Thank you, Sarah. So now this is the real test. The proof of the pudding is in its eating. So this is the real test. Let us try together to create something about something we are all familiar with. Shall we pick a topic within our? Thank you very much, Felix. Somebody suggest a topic on the chat and we'll create it together. Somebody suggest a topic which you're all familiar with. I look forward in the chat a topic, and we'll do it together so that you know I didn't come prepared for this one. We'll do it together. Thoughts of a topic which all of you can relate to so that we can get participation. What's a good topic for OBS and Gyno school? But you can also pick a private topic, not a problem. It could even be something that excites you. It could be a hobby, but something we want to persuade an audience. It could be to buy something. What is B? B is the body. The body, which is 75%, which has 3 points. Benefits of contraception. Okay, Khadija has a topic. Any other one? Some suggestions? the art of acing medical school. Very nice as well. Both of them are very, very good. Okay. Cesarean section. Okay, so we have 3 topics. Now, I don't know if we have a polling tool. Maybe we don't. Let's just see interests from those 3. Just let's have as many people give us, and we'll just go with the majority. Which one do we want? Just choose from one of those 3. Choose from benefits of contraception, the art of acing medical school, or a C-section. Okay? Ideally, we want something where we will convince people. So if it's C-section, we'll be showing them that it's not so dangerous. Okay, benefits of contraception, art of acing medical school, art of acing medical school, CS. Okay, so art of medical school is so far, acing medical school is winning so far. Okay, benefits of contraception, I have 1, so I have 3 benefits of contraception. Oh my God, we are beginning to get to an equal almost. I think I have 3 for art of acing medical school, 2 for the others. Shall we just go with the art of acing medical school? Yeah. Okay. Super. Now you're the ones doing it. Oh my God, I just got a 3rd. Let's just stick with it, shall we? Or maybe 2 or 3 more people to break the tie between benefits of contraception and art of acing medical school. Somebody needs to break the tie. Oh my God, another tie. I got another tie now. Acing. Okay, fine. Yvonne, has broken the tie. So we are going with acing medical school. Is that, oh no, I'm getting another tie. You're confusing me. Okay, it's stuck. Art of acing medical school, because another tie came up, but Agnes brought it. Patrick, was that on purpose just to confuse me? Liz? Okay, it's good to see they're equally popular. So we are going to ace medical school. Now, let's see. What most people are concerned when they're coming to medical school about 2 or 3 things, right? Maybe what could those 2 or 3 things be? Okay, because the things that motivate people are pain and pleasure. What do you think? Okay, the pleasure will come to. What do you think they are concerned about when they come to medical school? We'll just do this very quickly together. Thoughts? What are the concerns when you were joining medical school? What were you concerned about? Will they cope? Perhaps the time, passing exams. Do they pay fees, maybe expenses, or is it, do you get covered? Are those concerns? Passing exams? Okay, passing exams, fine. Anything else? One or 2 more things? Am I smart enough? Ah, very nice. School life balance. Brilliant. So we've got some ideas. Fine. Now we go, those ideas I'm just thinking up so that I can come up with some idea of either opening or even points. Now let's go to the meat. You're the ones who have aced medical school so far. So when we come to the meat, we are looking at building the case as to why they should, how they can ace medical school, right? So what are the 3 points? What are 3 things? Let's look at one thing that you have that you believe you did that helped you, okay? Go ahead, you've all aced it. I'm no expert here, you're the ones to tell me. How does somebody ace medical school? What did you do to reach here? 1 point. Consistency. Fine. Very good. So consistency, maybe having, allowing study techniques. Okay, perfect. I can see that. Group discussions. Very good. Holding discussion groups again. So very good. So I'm looking for one more item. Strategic studying. One more thing. Support system, I heard. Okay. Time management. Okay. We're getting a lot of points here, right? So, and I only wanted 3. 1 more, 2 more, feel free to give me. God. Very good. Perfect. Now we'll come to it. Working towards the target of achieving the goal. Okay, fine. Now, let's just go to the close now. Yeah. The close, looking at that, would you focus? Yeah. Would you invite anybody? Do you think it's a good thing today? Do you think you find it inspiring? Is there any quote you can tell me today? Or is there something that you would, if there was a student here in front of you and you wanted to invite them to sign up, what would you tell them? Would you want them to sign up or do you regret it? Has it been good for you? What can you tell them about your own personal experience? Just one line from anybody. Okay, it's tough but achievable. Okay, thank you, Khadija, for that. All right, now here I am, where I am. I shall take credit for something I cannot take credit, but just for a mock, I shall be one of you. I'm speaking to students who are not yet, but who are interested in joining OBS and Gyn. And this is what I have to say. It's so wonderful to see you all here. I can see that you're interested in joining, but are you concerned about the length of the course? Are you concerned that you have to spend 6 years studying before you achieve? Are you afraid that even after those 6 years, you may not pass the exams and you may not qualify? Dear friends, if you are focused, I can convince you that you will definitely qualify. You will ace medical school. And I'll tell you how I did it. There are just 3 simple things you need to be mindful of or to be participative because you have to be present. First and foremost, just make sure that when you are focused, you have a study plan. You allocate just each day 3 hours. Don't wait for the exams. Just make sure every single day, in the morning, give yourself 1 hour, and in the evenings, give yourself 2 hours to go through the work you've done. Don't wait till the end. That's number 1. Number 2, form groups where you have people within the same department where you can discuss, you can brainstorm, and purpose to meet at least once a week with those groups. Those group discussions can really be transformational for you. And finally, when all is said and done, what is most important is having faith. If you've done everything, believe me, God helps those who help themselves. Because if you work, if you have those group discussions, you will have all the material. Because everything that comes in the exams, we do work with and we have covered. So then say a silent prayer. That's what I did. And today, I can tell you the effort is worth it. New signups for the program starting in January are beginning on 15th May. Please sign up right now. The demand is so high. If you don't sign up before the 20th, because the opening window between 15th and 20th, we have masses that come in. They are only taking 80. You could miss out. Sign in. Make sure, purpose to sign up on the 15th. You will be so proud 6 years from now when you are a proud doctor. You go. I'm not even in the group, but I did it. What did you think of that final speech with your points? Do you think you've encouraged somebody that they can ace medical school? Any thoughts? Maybe I didn't do it as well because I'm not a participant, but what did you think using your points? Any thoughts on the chat? We created a speech. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, John. Thank you, Jesse. Convincing enough. Awesome. So you see, once you understand, and this is all objective, it is somewhat of a science because, yeah, awesome. You will have the time to research. Unlike me, you will not just have 3, 4, 5 minutes to work with it. Oh, wow. I love that emoji, Christine. Thank you. Awesome. And when you know you have something, wow, I'm sold, says Sarah. Super. So when you know that you have something of value, I'm speaking to these students who want to sign up. I'm giving them something that will be good for them. You will find yourself stopping focusing on your thoughts and on your anxiety, and you'll be thinking of the value. You've got the points. And when you have that, it's about preparation. When you have the science part of it, the rest flows. But that said and done, there are some things that you can do. Yeah, and so we've just tried it. There's some things you can do. We need to remember when we communicate, what we say is really just according to some researcher, and especially when people might be doubting you, is only roughly 7% of how people will be convinced in your message. So body language is very important. How your voice sounds is very important. Now, in this short forum, we don't have the time to get into depth into each one of them, but there's some quick tips I can give you. For example, one of my tips is, most importantly, respect your audience. If today I know you need to finish by 9, I know I had an hour. I've already finished 30 something. I have asked somebody to tell me when I'm at 45 minutes. Don't eat into their time. Respect the agenda. The most important thing and things that get into which can trap you is under preparing, winging it, or not practicing. So I invite you to always work at it. But we talked about anxiety. Now, did you know that nervousness is something that somebody cannot see? You don't see nervousness, but what you see is somebody biting their fingers. You see them, maybe in your audience, you see them, cracking their knuckles or fiddling with a pen, or you see them putting their hands in their pocket, removing them out, or you see them walking up and down. So those are the actions you try and avoid. If you avoid that, the audience doesn't know you are nervous. And it's not that you want them to know or not to know, but it takes away. An audience will mirror your emotions. So if you show yourself as confident or stable, they will also be with you. So avoid those things. Nervousness is not visible. Your nerves, your anxiety is not something they can see, but you are showing them through these actions. So tip is avoid those actions. Don't slouch, because our physiology will determine our psychology. If we slouch, we begin to also feel timid. If we hold ourselves up high and walk straight, automatically that psychology spreads in. If you're given a lectern or a table, don't clutch at it. Just hold it lightly. If you're speaking in front of an audience and you have presentation, face them. Try and avoid looking at the slides. The slides are only there to guide you. They're not to be the presentation. And if you have notes, just have those 3 points that we have. Don't write everything out. Okay. So secondly, dressing tells a story. Okay. When somebody sees the person there in that nice Ghanaian outfit, what do they think? Okay, I'll see some answers in the chat. Quick answers in the chat. What do you imagine when you see that person? Or okay, there's an angry person there, a thoughtful person, a happy person. From all these people, who are the people you really want to listen to? Let's see. The happy person. Good, says Khadija. Who else do you want to listen to? I mean, actually, even the Ghanaian looks quite happy to me, or the West African. Proud to be me, Ghana. Yes, Dana Ondieki says, yes. You already know, maybe he's a visitor to us here in Kenya. He wants to tell us about something from there. The composed person. Yeah, who's the composed person? To me, the Ghanaian person looks quite composed, yes. Authentic, yeah. The happy or the, yeah. All right, great. Who would you not want to hear? Let's see. Who is the one you're maybe a bit concerned about? Okay, I get nobody. So it means perhaps that angry fellow, and especially if he's your boss, the yelling man, the one on the phone, he has no time for me. Absolutely. Absolutely. So you see, when you are there, respect your audience. The angry and the one on the phone looks like he has an attitude. People care more about being made special. I'm here to speak to you. You don't want somebody who's distracted. You don't want somebody whose mind is on other things. You want somebody who's happy to be there, who's looking at you, who's showing care. The one on the phone looks disturbed. So yes, when you're speaking in front of an audience, keep your phone away because you don't realize, but the things around you are already telling a story. They're telling a story before you speak. And people already say, huyo staki kumsikia, hata yeye hataki kukuwa hapa, he's being forced to be here, you know? So come there, dress up if you can, okay? Be there, keep your eyes, your focus, smile if need be, whatever, yeah? There's some things, basic things, and we won't go into them in depth, but the non-verbals you saw is a big part of your speech. Try and keep eye contact. If it's a physical setting, first look at somebody who looks supportive, and that might help you. That might take away some nerves if he's listening to you, and then look further. If it is a virtual audience like this, the trick is not even to look at the screen, and this is sometimes difficult, to look at the camera. When you look at the camera, they can see your eyes. Keep your facial expressions as you saw, not like the angry man, but at least neutral. Okay? Have your hand gestures congruent with what you're saying. For example, if I'm talking about 2, I talked about 3 points. Don't have them all over. When you keep on repeating, now right now I'm repeating my gestures, they become distractive. Okay? But if you are just enough, they are expressive. Have your posture straight, move enough, not too much, but move purposefully and own the space. Now we are in a virtual setting. I've tried to place myself in the center of the camera. Yeah, I don't want to be like that. On the other hand, because I have a presentation, I've tried to come up as a virtual screen and you can see me, but I know you're interested in the presentation. So make sure you understand the space. So simple things. So if you've looked at what you shouldn't do, what should you do? Power pose, eye contact, smile. Whatever you do, yeah, prepare. If you prepare, your mind will be on your notes and what you have of value rather than on the anxiety. It will take the terror out of the talk. Your psychology will be key. Your eye contact will be key. Most importantly, remember that we all smile in the same language. People will want to hear you. They will find you endearing. They will be interested if you smile at them. That concludes my presentation, and I'm open for any questions there may be, time permitting. Thank you so much. Back to you. I'll stop sharing if there are any questions. Okay. Okay, I can see 2 questions. If there are, please feel free to use the chat. So Lillian is saying, I see good speakers are able to use voice variation. How do I learn that? Very good. Second is it better to walk around or stay on the podium? And thank you for your kind comments on thanking me for the excellent presentation. I love how you do those emojis. I should learn from you, Christine. Okay, feel free to keep them coming. Meanwhile, let me answer Lillian. Her first question is she sees speakers using voice variation. Now, 100% right. Voice, and today, unfortunately, voice is a whole topic of its own. But there are three key elements to voice. There is pitch, there is volume, and then there's the whole tone. Now, with a pitch, some people think, oh my God, as women, maybe I'm too high. Or some people think, my voice is too bass. The trick is you should have variety. The trick is vary it with the topic. So for example, if I'm asking you a question, did you know the end, the emphasis, the question mark makes it higher. If I'm frightened, I can have a high pitch. But if I'm presenting something informative, the pitch is stable, consistent, and with an assertive voice. So you vary it. Variety is the spice of life, and the trick is to keep on varying it. But there are many elements that help you modulate your voice, and that is a topic on its own. In fact, it would be an hour to go through each one of them. Okay? Is it better to walk around or stay on the podium? It helps to walk, but not too much. You don't want your back to be to an audience. You want to face your audience as much as possible. Sometimes you do move close to them. Sometimes you move back. Sometimes the topic, if you're talking about history, you can be at the back. When you come to a bit more current, you can be here. And when you go to the future, you can go to the front. So you pace, and that again is an art you learn over time, but you pace your movements around your speech, but it should be purposeful movements all the time. Thank you. Thank you very much for your kind comments, Khadija, as well. There's a yellow slide that you slipped. It was giving a summary of the steps. Can I go back to it? I'll look for it in a minute and go back. Can we have more of my sessions, please? Oh, I'm honored. Thank you very much. Let me just find my presentation again to know which slide you felt I skipped. It had a summary. Was it this one maybe you wanted? I didn't go into this. Okay, so this is the only slide I think I didn't discuss, but it's basically the rule of three. Classic rhetoricians, but I tried to cover it, but I didn't want to get into. Rhetoric comes from the Greek, and they have words which really go to the Greek language or originate from the Greek language. And they're hard words like logos, pathos, and ethos, but they basically mean you appeal to the head with some information in your topic. You appeal to the heart because motivation is pain and pleasure. And ethos is the credibility. Why is it you know, and you address resistance. And that's one thing we haven't talked too much about, but I mentioned it when I said, what are people afraid of? Are they afraid of the time it takes to ace medical school? Are they afraid of the costs? So you just address it. I hope that was the right slide. If it wasn't, Lois, is that the slide you felt I skipped? Because that's the only slide I think I didn't necessarily want to go into depth with in this short presentation because of the time. Was that the one? Okay. Khadija, how do I address resistance? And Farida, how do you deal with distractions from an audience and still maintain contact? Brilliant. Okay. So I'll stop sharing so that I can be here. So to answer how do you deal with distractions? Now it depends on the nature of distractions. I wanted this to be interactive. I invited you to speak on the chat. As when you start speaking, you may not want too many distractions. So you could tell people at the beginning of the presentation, I will be taking questions at the end. Please hold your questions at the end. Or you will all have a moment at the end to come in. Alternatively, if you have somebody who keeps butting in, you can say, in the interest of time, I can remain behind to talk to you after the presentation, but we really need to complete this. So those are really the elements. Maintaining eye contact, I touched on it lightly, but look at the camera if it is virtual. If it is physical, start with somebody close to you, go to somebody on the left, on the right, and then towards the end. So you're always either doing a V or an M by looking at them. What do I mean by addressing resistance? That comes strongly in persuasive speeches by knowing what they might still think, huyu ni mdomo, lakini. Let me take my coffee thing, for example. I'm convincing you to drink coffee. Maybe there are people who might be afraid about caffeine, the content. After saying all my 3 points about why, if you are concerned about the caffeine content, or if you are concerned that coffee is addictive, even if you look at the FDA website, the Foods and Drug Authority, coffee has a tiny, minute, a cup of coffee has 0.004 mg of caffeine. This is not addictive. It is perfectly safe to drink even 3 to 4 cups for a pregnant woman. The FDA and research has confirmed this. So if they thought I was just mudomo, now they will think, no, if that is true, if it has been proven medically by science, they are more likely to believe my message. I have addressed the thing that was disturbing them, the resistance. So you anticipate it. Yeah? Oh, Lillian Lois, there was another one. I can share my slides later and you can look at it. Feel free to contact me. Yeah. How do you overcome mind block when answering questions in an exam setting? So mind block, it could genuinely be that you don't have an answer. There are 2 very good ways. One, if you're in a group and you really don't know the answer, ask if somebody in the audience might have something to answer, if something to comment on that topic. Yeah. So for example, if you ask me, how do I modulate my voice? Are there any ideas from somebody in the audience? I could throw it back. Or secondly, I could genuinely admit I don't have an answer right now, but promise to find out and get back to you. The audience will respect you. You're not supposed to be a know-it-all. You're not supposed to be a mjuaji. Yes, you've been invited because you are the expert in the field, but they will respect you for admitting you don't know, but they'll respect you even more if you then find out and get back to them. Okay? Thank you so much, Sarah, for that comment. Great presentation. Some of the audiences I find difficult to connect to, hold their attention, our virtual audiences and lay groups. So a lot of this, practice, practice, practice. The more you do it, the more comfortable you get. When COVID started, I myself, having presented many times, for the first time, had to start presenting more in virtual groups. I had challenges communicating or connecting with an audience whose faces I couldn't see, like right now. But I learned I have to find different ways to connect with them because I understand and appreciate that our bandwidths may not allow. So we come with new ways, new means to communicate. Often, if you've done the research, you find you know something about them that will help you connect. Like, because I knew today what students you are, the example we used so that we could connect better were medical examples as much as possible. So it is a function of preparation, a function of researching, and then finding things that you have in common, or you can bring that interest and work for them. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, Moses, for your kind comments. Does attire play a role in perfecting speech? Well, not in perfecting speech, but in earning the respect or in I mean, if you go to if you are, for example, speaking in public in a wedding, you might be the best man, the best woman. You need to dress, if there's a theme code, you need to dress. But yes, they say if you are a speaker, if you dress up, it's about confidence. You will feel good about yourself and you will be more confident. Don't overdress, but dress up one if you can. Thank you. Thank you very, very, very much, all of you. And I remain available. I hope and pray that this has shown you it is not as challenging, as fatal as people tend to think. I invite you, the best way is to start. Look for forums that you can speak. Look, in fact, since I understood from the topics you brought up that you might have your own internal groups. Your groups might be more supportive. Start there. Take turns. I invite you. Speak to a few supportive groups, and thereafter go up and try and speak to unfamiliar audiences. Over to you. I shall share my presentation. It's been a great honor. It's been a pleasure for me to speak to you. Thank you so much. Back to you, Dr. Njiko. Is she there? Maybe I can pass it to Diana.
And thank you very much, Rosie. That was very, very insightful. Actually, for the students, they do a lot of presentations, and you can see sometimes, so what was asked about when it comes to asking questions, people tend to get a freeze, or even if they don't freeze, they become really panicky. And you know, definitely people have the answers, but there is this anxiety that comes up that makes people unable to speak. And it's important that truly we had this topic so that people know it's okay to have that feeling and just to ride above that feeling and still present what you need to present. So what we normally say is feel the fear and do it anyway. Learn to silence that inner voice to a very great extent, or make it extremely small so that it does not overwhelm you. And we are very, very grateful to this talk. And as you can see from the comments, people truly needed it. And I just wanted to comment about the Toastmasters clubs we have. We have about 56 Toastmasters clubs in District 114. And the countries we have in the region, we have Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. We also have Ethiopia and Rwanda. So you can see how diverse it is. And we have clubs every day of the week, apart from Sunday. There are clubs in the morning, at midday, and also in the evening. There are online clubs, physical clubs, hybrid clubs. So you have very many options to decide where you're going to learn your leadership and communication skills. And it's anything from facilitation to emceeing. It doesn't matter what you want to do. Actually, there's everything for everybody in Toastmasters. And just to mention some of the topics or parts that are covered, there's dynamic leadership, engaging markers. Some people just want to be communicative, especially for the MCs. Someone kindly mute Shemukumu. We also have innovative planning, effective coaching, motivational strategies, persuasive influence, strategic relationships, team collaboration. So you can see there are a number of topics. Anything you want to do, you can actually learn in Toastmasters. It just depends on what your objectives are. So I would like to thank Rozy, Rana. Thank you very much. I don't know if Ida Njiko is back on the call. Are you back?
Yes, I'm back. Okay.
So thank you very much, Rozy, Rana. I'm very grateful that you took your time. We are not taking it for granted that you actually joined us for this, and we are very she's actually highly marketable, and she's very busy. So for her to be here, I'm not taking it for granted. So thank you very much, Rozy. So over to you, Ida.
Thank you so much, Madam Rozy and Dr. Ondieki. Just to pass on a thank you note to everyone who made time to be with us today, and a special gratitude to our many consultants who are able to join us on this call in the morning. Thank you so much for making time. We'll do this again on the next Friday. That's the first Friday of June before we break to start our exams. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and do have a good day.